This is WarCry. WarCry for our children, where the street meets the sanctuary and purpose meets power. Join me, Elder M, intercessor, street evangelist, prayer warrior, advocator for justice. We stand in the gap in the streets, in the courtyards, in the schoolyards, in the church and on the block. This ain't just prayer. It's intercession. It's advocacy. We deal with real problems. Criminal justice, social justice, gun violence, social media, catfishing, human trafficking, mental illness, education disparities. We deal with it all here on WarCry. Our community has a voice. It's called WarCry. Each week, we link arms with community leaders, educators, pastors, parents calling out injustice. This is WarCry. This is not just a podcast. It's more than a moment. This is a movement. Join us. Let's give a voice to the problem and be the solution. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep them going. WarCry. We're going to speak out for our children. Let freedom ring? No. There cannot be freedom until there's justice. WarCry, join us Mondays, 11 a.m. I'm just about to lose my mind. This is WarCry. They're trying to turn time back. But let us get out and give a voice to the problem. This is WarCry. Join us, be with us, or be gone. Don't push us. This is WarCry. Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. We're not going under. This is WarCry. Good morning. Good morning. This is WarCry of February the 22nd, 2025. And we have another Ground Roots show for you. As we stated before, WarCry for justice, WarCry for the urban community, WarCry for ground roots. We don't deal with the things that other people deal with. We deal with the voices that nobody wants to listen to. But our voices must be heard. This is WarCry. We've had a lot of things happening over the last 2 weeks. You've seen them. You know them. You've heard about them. And guess what? They're real. They are real. The attack is real. This is WarCry. WarCry for justice. WarCry for our children. WarCry for you and WarCry for me. This is WarCry. We're in some serious times. Our Black colleges are being attacked. We're in some serious time. There was a student, well, really it was 2 students in Mississippi. One was at Dale State University, and the other one was another man who didn't even attend the college, but both of them was in Mississippi that was hung. Over the weekend, I heard about another case. This is WarCry. We're going back and dealing with some problems that we thought we wouldn't even have to deal with. Not in 2025. Who could imagine? Who could imagine that we would still be doing this? There has been over 311 mass shootings from January to right now, September. Mass shootings. Our kids are still getting killed. We've got to go out in the streets and pray for our kids. I'm telling you right now, this is a 911 call. I need for you to select the school. I need for you to hit subscribe, go to my page, send me your name, your phone number, so I could send you a shirt that says, I am praying for our kids. We've got to let the adversary know that we're going to stand in the gap. This is WarCry, and I'm mad about what's going on, but we're going to come right in. Bring the listeners, bring our panel in. I am so excited today. Bring our panel in. I am so excited today. Oh my goodness. I am so excited today. Is that Peggy? Do I see you, Peggy?
I'm here.
Hi, I want to tell you something before we even get into anything else. Is Victoria on the line? Has she came in yet? Victoria? We've got some exciting guests today. Peggy is the originator of the 988. I don't know if you know 988. It's just like 911, but it's a mental service number that if you're facing somebody challenged with a crisis mentally in your house, you don't call 911, you call 988. I didn't know about that. But Peggy's going to tell us about it because we're in some serious times. Serious time. Okay, let the first video come up as we wait until Victoria come in. And tell me what you think about this. This is WarCry, and I'm mad about it.
No Jews, no gays. High up in the Ozark Hills in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, building houses and a new type of community. It's called Return to the Land, and it is a town open to white people only. They are millennials and Gen Z, and this is a new update of age-old prejudice.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
It's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out, even if...
you don't let everyone into your home.
Around 40 people live here. Hundreds more from across the world have paid to be members. And while the men do the physical labor, the women take care of the children who live here full time. It could be a very loving community if you're part of the community, but if you're black, or if you're Jewish, or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do.
You might be wondering how any of this can be legal. Return to the Land is structured as a private members association, which they believe allows them to discriminate on the basis of ethnicity, along with other factors. That has yet to be tested in the courts and may well fail. The Arkansas Attorney General has said his office is now reviewing the matter as a result of our reporting, and that there is no room for racial discrimination in Arkansas or anywhere in a free society.
Wow. White-only communities are popping up all over. This happens to be in Arkansas. They no longer want to integrate. They want to segregate, and they're establishing their own colonies. I just want to know before we go into the show, because a lot of things are happening, a lot of things are taking place in this new climax. I'm going to go to you, Dr. Payne. What do you think about this? Introduce yourself. And what do you think we should have segregation like that? Where gay, I think you heard what they said. That we're not even welcome there. Dr. Payne, what do you think? Introduce yourself.
Number one, I'm Pastor Wesley Payne from Brooklyn, New York. And if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. This is just the beginning. If they start something like this, it's going to be ridiculous because it's going to be spread all over. See, they just start there. We can't let things like this go on. We got to stop it, nip it in the bud. We got to nip this right here. Because if we don't, they're going to get over on that state. And before you know it, they're going to put it in other states. And it's going to go, before you know it, it's going to go all across the United States. I disagree with this wholeheartedly. This is why we have the problem right now. Because I want to say the correct word. Because of foolishness. I use that word. Because of foolishness like this right now. That's why the world is going back to where it was. But we got to stand up and stop this right now. We got to get together as a people and stop this. If we don't, we're in trouble. This is just the beginning.
Absolutely. This is just the beginning. And guess what? They got a charter, a mandate. Now the state of Arkansas is trying to see if it's really legal. But they've already said that. And if you heard the video, people have already started sending money to them to help support it. Minister Patton, what do you think about this? Introduce yourself. What do you think about this?
Good morning. I'm Minister Patton. I'm an advocate for children, worked in education. Oh my gosh, maybe for about 30 years on different capacities. But what I'm saying from an educational standpoint, our schools are already really segregated. Even after Thurgood Marshall with the Board of Education, there is no real segregation, especially in the urban communities. Even if you go out to Nassau, those places, they are start becoming segregated. So you still have the people on the north side doing this, the people on the south side doing this, and there's no real coming together. So you see this thing with Thurgood Marshall with Board versus Education really never infused in our educational system.
But let's move from education right now. This is a community where people have bought land.
Because it was not infused, those communities stayed the way they were. This is just an outpour of what we saw in the educational system. They just took it another step.
They took it another step. Now, these are Gen Zs. I don't want you to go nowhere. These are Gen Zs that have came together, Pastor Peggy, bought land, and now they're setting up their own colonies because they don't want, can I just say it? Give me permission to say it, Peggy. They don't want nobody black or brown who look like us on their land or in their site. Now, this is dangerous. Mr. Patton, wouldn't you say this is dangerous?
This is beyond dangerous. This is beyond dangerous.
Now, Mr. Patton, I just want to do this remind you of the sundown towns?
Yes, Tusker, Oklahoma. The sundown towns, yes. In the sense that, if you're in our town at a certain time, we're gonna put you in jail, kill you, whatever.
We're gonna kill you.
They'll go kill you. It gives you free reign. If you go, say you make a wrong turn, you go into their community. What's going to happen to those people?
Absolutely. And now this charter for this town was just established. So this is a growing phenomenon that's happening. They want to move away from us, live in their own little communities now, and become colonized to themselves. This is harmful. This is harmful. Peggy, come in, Peggy. What you think about it? Peggy, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Peggy Herrera, and I will say that I've worked with youth that are incarcerated over 20 years. I did prison ministry, became a chaplain so I could have regular access to them because there's no voice for our people. There's no voice for our children. It's a system that recycles. Why are we good enough to raise your children and cook for your children, but we are not good enough to be around you? Who is it that you see taking care and babysitting those kids in Manhattan and everywhere? It is our people that are black and brown, right? But they don't want us around, but you want us to raise your kids because you know that we have potential. So they want to take away, they want to block that potential that we have.
Now, Peggy, they don't want us to raise their kids. These people have bought property. They don't want nobody around that don't look like them. They want to just be to themselves. I don't know how they're going to be actually able to go outside of that small community and go into an area and avoid dealing with somebody that look like us, but they think they can, and they're being funded. They're being funded. There are people who have not, I did a research on this little group. There's people who have not even moved into the community that have bought land on the community to keep this community a white community, which is alarming. It's very alarming that in 2025, when we fought so hard that be segregated or be integrated and be brought together for various reasons, that we're still dealing with this. Period. I see Victoria has came on the line. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I don't know. Did you have a chance to see the video about this white-only community in Arkansas? What do you think about? Introduce yourself and tell. What do you think about white people buying land, having a white-only community? What do you think about that?
Me? Good morning, everybody. My name is Victoria Huggins Peurifoy, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I think they do what they want to do anyway. So what makes this different? You know, they do what they want to do. I just saw where a group of Black people, I think it was 300, got together. I can't remember what city it was in, but they got together and they bought up all this land. They do it. I mean, we could do it.
We could do it.
Yeah,
We
sure.
could do it. We could do it. But imagine this now. Let me bring your mind. This is becoming another sundown town. Another sundown town that, you know, what the sundown represented, places that we couldn't be caught in at night past 6 o'clock, that you better drive real fast.
Or you better go in a different direction.
Or you better go in a different direction. Or you better have a whole tank of gas. Gas. Or you better not go that way. And I think we dealt with that with the Green Book. Remember, the Green Book told you the places you couldn't go, you know, or couldn't be caught there. This is what this world is getting to. But this is WarCry. So I wanted to put that out there to start off our show today, because we got to talk about real problems. Our HBC, our Black colleges are under attack. Mississippi had 2 lynching. I won't say that somebody was hung. 2 Black boys was lynched. One from Dale State. It was a third one, I think, in Michigan. Okay, it was 2 in Georgia. We've got to really start thinking about what is going on with this America that we're supposed to be living under a banner of. In God we trust. In God we trust. In God we trust. In God we trust. But who's trying to take the place of God? I'll leave that one alone. I serve no king. The only king I serve is King Jesus. Do I have some witnesses? The only king we serve is King Jesus. But we got
I just wrote a little poem about Trey Reed, the young man that just got hung. That was
okay. Now, okay. I want to hear it. I do want to hear it, because I'm gonna let the Holy Spirit go, because I want for you to introduce who you are and what you do, and tell me why did you write that poem.
Again, my name is Victoria Huggins Peurifoy. I'm a poet and spoken word artist, an author, a writer, a narrator, a facilitator for different activities. I run a journaling workshop. I'm called in to do journaling workshops, and I love it. And like I said, I'm an author. They put up my books. Okay. But when I heard about Trey Reed, I just wrote this real quick poem.
And just explain who Trey Reed is for our listeners.
He was I think he was from Dell State. He was a young man that was hung. But
in Mississippi.
They said his leg was broken and something else was broken. His arm, I think. I said, well, if that's the case, how could he have hung himself? That's ridiculous. So I just said, Trey didn't do it. Retribution may be the answer. Extreme action by us is needed. You cannot deny the truth. Righteous indignation is warranted. Exhaustion with these lies is on overload. I am proud of our men fighting for a worthy cause. Dramatic action is coming. Trey Reed, may you rest in peace. You will not be forgotten. I wrote the poem because when I read it, I was like, oh my God, it's just too many things happening. And it just hurts your heart. And as a mother, it hurts your heart, because I think about like when my son was home and when he would leave, I would often think about, I hope Lord, just take care of my child while he's away. I pray that he comes back the same way he left here, because too many times young men leave out, going to school, going to work, whatever they're doing. and then all of a sudden something happens. They maybe get caught in a crossfire, and some people don't care about that because they're collateral damage for the situation, you know. So
I thank you.
You're welcome.
Victoria, I thank you. You just brought on Peggy. You really just brought on Peggy because you told her child's story. What you said is Peggy's story. That's how God lined this up.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to let's just go to the video, and this will tell you a little bit about Peggy and why I love her so much and the work that she's doing.
Okay.
Period.
Breaking my door. Ma'am, come on, you gotta go down here. Against the law. If I say no, y'all can't break my door. Y'all not gonna pay for it. You're not breaking my door.
Peggy Herrera called 911 because her son needed help.
He was having a crisis and he locked himself in the house.
Peggy was afraid of what might happen if police showed up.
I need the ambulance to show up first, not the police.
EMTs arrived with police who could see her son through the window.
Listen, he's fine. He's there. You can see him. He's not bloody. He's not nothing.
But the situation went south.
That's it.
Ma'am, please.
And I ain't never had problems with the law, so no.
And they never once asked me to move. They just took me right down. Sergeant said, take her, move her.
No. No. Stop. 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 Don't break my door. Leave my son alone.
Why are you doing this? Stop.
Miss.
Don't break my door. No.
Give me the other cup.
Don't put my cup.
You're doing this to yourself.
When he heard me screaming, he opened the door, said, my mother. They grabbed him by the neck, pulled him down. He never got the help he needed, and I spent the night in jail.
Let me go. You got him. Let me go.
Encounters like these are why many are calling for police to be removed from responding when someone calls 911 about a mental health issue.
Hello? Yeah, stay here. Hello? Hi there. Hurry up and get your inside. My sister's depressed. Oh, okay. Let me just introduce you. No, get inside and help her.
Welcome to week 4 of training for Be Heard, a new city pilot program set to launch in Harlem next month. Instead of sending EMTs out with police, the city will now send them with social workers instead, like Sally Mae.
When police show up, it's very traumatic for a patient. You see their eyes go like this. So already they're elevated. It's very difficult to de-escalate. Police don't have that training.
We're here to make sure you're safe.
I think this is an awesome move. This is something that's been needed in this city for a very long time.
The teams are drilling for various scenarios.
Strongly urge that we go to the hospital.
It could be someone on the platform. It could be someone on the street, someone who seems like they're talking to themselves, but it's more than just talking to themselves. They really need help.
This is not to have anything against NYPD. I like to use the term, you can't use a hammer for every situation.
The city chose to test the program first here in Harlem because it's the dispatch zone with the highest number of mental health calls to 911, 8,000 to 9,000 calls a year. The neighborhood also has psychiatric resources, so social workers can refer patients for follow-up. Residents here are watching closely.
As a social worker, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I've got some problems. I'd like to talk to somebody. Somebody, please listen to me. Police are not trained to listen. They're trained to respond.
And that's dangerous. Unless these EMT workers are prepared to handle that.
Be careful with where you are responding and what you're doing on these jobs.
The teams are being trained in self-defense, but some EMS representatives fear for their safety.
It only takes 5 seconds for a non-violent situation to become a violent situation. Or maybe they should be carrying the kind of spray that, male carriers carry.
Let's go back. Let's go back to Peggy. Peggy.
The NYPD says while fewer than 1% of men...
I will have my program directed to, yes. We are so excited to have you on. We're so excited to have Victoria on, but I'm bringing you on first. Tell us, we looked at the video. Well, let me just say, Dr. Payne, what did you see on that video?
I look at it, it's heartbreaking. We do need more training because the police is not qualified to do that. They're not. And you talk about de-escalating. When they see a police officer uniform, they get more hype right there. And so, like I said, we definitely need to train, especially in our neighborhood. But if you ever notice that the police and everything, they always come in our neighborhood, but they don't go out different places. They always want to
Okay.
arrest our people, pressure on them. It's not fair. It's definitely not
It's not fair. Okay. Minister Patton, what did you see on that video?
I saw racism. I saw inconsideration. I saw that there was already, the mind was already made up as to how that they were going to handle this. There was no room for interpretation. Even though mommy is saying, look, my son is here, they didn't even connect to them. All they want to do was take mommy out the picture and do what they had to do. They didn't even try to understand what was even going on. They didn't assess the situation, even though mommy is talking to them. They only knew how their training was and what they were going to do, and there was no room for compromise.
Okay, and I want to tell you, that's Peggy. Peggy was mommy. We got mommy over here. Victoria, what did you see on that video?
I saw unnecessary force. I saw fear. I saw the wrong attitude. And I kept thinking, if she was a man, would she be dead?
Yep.
Yeah, and now we're gonna bring Peggy up because you see what they did? They put Peggy in jail. Peggy, come on in.
So they can control.
Yes. So you took me to jail and you put my son in the hospital for 2 minutes for a checkoff list to say you did what the law wants you to do. But you never.
Peggy, do me a favor. Tell us the history of your son. Tell us about the telephone call, what you said to 911, and then bring us to the police response, and that some of them you even knew the officers. Bring us to that.
Okay, so quickly, my husband died. Now, October will be 19 years that my husband went home to be with the Lord, and he died of cancer, and he died in our bed. So Justin was homeschooled. I raised him. I raised my kids, alone as a single, well, never single because the Lord is always with me, but as a single mom, just fighting for him. I homeschooled him. He played sports, made it to nationals, all of that. But at 16, 15, I started to see the pain affect him. I started to see. So he started to get anxiety attacks and all of that. Had to run to the hospital sometimes because he was like, my heart. So I fought for him. If you read some of my op-eds, I wrote some op-eds on mental health, really addressing the issue on how they deal with mental health. Because for me, I understand that behavior comes from a place, right? You don't just, today I'm just going to misbehave. You're having a crisis for a reason. Why are you getting anxiety and all this and breaking something in your room? Because something happened, right? Okay. So we need to get over the why, but the what. What happened to our kids? What's happening to our children and our families and our people, right? Trauma, it plays out. So moving ahead, I worked for that precinct. I worked for the schools and I worked for that precinct. So they already know I've made several calls. They have history with Justin. He goes to the hospital. He gets the care he needs. He goes to North Shore, which I love. They counsel him for the night. They keep him for the night. They send him home in a cab. He feels better. The only thing he didn't like was the straitjacket. He didn't like that, but they would help him and he was good. So they could see him through the window. I just didn't understand. And they had a conversation with him. If you really look at it, once they had that conversation with him, they already did their job because that's what we needed. What they did right there was he was like, hey, Justin, what's going on? And he told him I got a job. And
Let me come in, Peggy. Peggy, yeah. Let me come in. Take us to the 911 call because that's critical and how they responded and what you said to them and how they came out. Take us to that.
So when I called the ambulance, I stepped out because I didn't want to, I didn't want Justin to get like escalated or anything. And I know he didn't like to go to us. So I stepped out. I said, I need the ambulance, not the police. It says it clearly, and that's how I was able to hold them accountable. So when they came like, you thought it was a drug bust. They came like in numbers, like the shield car, like 100 cop cars, not one EMT. So I told them I wasn't going to let them in until EMT arrived. But when I spoke to EMT and they saw everything, EMT was there. And I told them, you see what they're doing? And they were like, whatever they say. So my problem is, even though we've passed a law for EMT to respond and social workers to be there, police will always be there with a gun. They will always be there to respond. And that's my fear because you've seen after so many times how they've killed people, during a crisis. And that is my fear for our communities. So it's easier to just take him, arrest him, or throw him somewhere than to actually help him. You know, and so that is my fear. And I worked for that police department. That sergeant knows me. So you knew as a mother, I was fighting for my child. And you still escalate. They were talking to him. They had a great conversation. You still chose to escalate the situation. So it shows me that you didn't care for Justin, but that you cared to check off your list and say, I did the job.
Now, let me ask a question. Now, they took you to jail.
Yes.
You spent the night in jail. And then they brought your son down and charged at him. What did they charge you? You was charged with a crime?
Obstruction of
justice.
Obstruction of justice. And when I went before the judge, even the judge said, like, because I never had problems with the law. And she said, and they put a new date for me to come back, for me to be, and she was like, she's going to sue. Like, there's no reason for her to be here. And they were like, they still gave a date. I fought the case. I continued to fight the case. And I remember a judge, he was really nice, but he was like, why don't you just take it? He was really nice. Why don't you just take it? Just stay, don't get in no trouble for 6 months and then it's sealed. I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. What you mean stay out of trouble? I'm not even in trouble. Like, I don't have no record. And so I said, no. He says, I want to see how this is going to play out. But I had organizations back me up. We would go. I had local politicians support me on this. And when they called my name, we would all stand up because I wanted you to know I was not alone. And I was not going to back down. If I had not known, and that's the problem, we are not educated enough in our communities, because when our kids go before a judge, they automatically take whatever's given to them. I stood there knowing about Khalif Browder. I worked with the youth in facilities. So I understood how there's a system in place. So system is not broken. It is doing what has been designed to do. And that is target our communities. So they wanted to criminalize me for being a mother, for calling for help. Absolutely not. So I fought them.
Let's come in. Let's come in because we're at a good spot. And then because I need to even hear a trauma poem. Okay, Dr. Payne, what do you think about what you just heard?
Agree with her wholeheartedly. We definitely need training. But a lot of times the police department, they do not de-escalate. They escalate things when they come in. Because if you see them with all the police officers, all that it took was maybe 2 officers, if that, 2. But you don't need all those officers, and that's inciting, right? When you say inciting, you see all those officers that some of them brothers are prejudiced. They want something to happen so they can do something. And
let me just come in. Let me come in. Let me just come in, Payne. I want to let you go back. And Peggy, your son said, don't touch my mommy.
Yep.
And that made when they seen what he was doing, that made him excited.
That's why they beat him up.
That's why they beat him up. That's why they beat him up.
He didn't do nothing. He needed help.
That's right. Okay, come in, Peggy. Your comments. And have you ever written a poem, Peggy, that expresses some of the Black trauma that not Peggy, I'm sorry, Victoria. Come in, Victoria. Have you ever written a poem that expresses some of the Black trauma that we face in our neighborhoods like this?
Well, I wrote 2 poems, one called Tired of Crying, and the other one was called These Times. Now, These Times was written during the period of COVID and with the things that were going on during that time.
Let's hear Tired of Crying. Tired of Crying. Who's tired of crying, Peggy? I mean, Victoria, who's tired of crying?
Everybody, the mothers, the fathers, the sisters, the brothers, the grandparents, everybody's tired of crying.
Well, what color? Is it white people? Is it Chinese people? Who's tired of
Everybody. Don't matter what color you are. But Black people, of course, at the top of the list, but there's other people that are affected by this too. It's that we, for whatever reason, have the majority number that is being affected by all of this gunfire. But I'm ticked off and I'm mad. I'm tired of crying. I'm fearful of the unknown. No longer is it just our men; it is also our women too, who are a part of the planned execution. Whenever will they leave us alone? First, our men were taken from their homeland, Mother Africa. Then they were separated from their families and brought to another land, a land that spoke a foreign language. This place, unfamiliar, cold-hearted, distant place. They were brought here to work on the land that was not even their own. So Massa could get his fill of all the skills and the creativity that were innately our own, and used it and abused it in the fields and in the home. We are the ones who should be angry for over 400 years of mistreatment, misguidance, misappropriation of funds with no reparation in sight. Even when you try to do things the right way, try to do things better, try to show more character, it doesn't matter. You see, you're still considered an animal. You're still considered nothing, still considered less than, and still considered of no value. I'm tired of hearing about law enforcement officers who shoot to kill as if they're still in the battlefield. I'm tired of our young black males feeling some kind of quota that keeps Massa from going after the kill. I'm tired of feeling down, tired of the loss. Each mother stands in the window looking at her son leave for his destination, wonder, will he return? Will I see my son again? Will he look the same as when he left? Will the wolves get him? She wonders, and then she prays, Lord, 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 please take care of my child while he's away from me. Keep a hedge of protection all around him, Father. Amen. Don't want to have to cry no more. Don't want to have to feel that pain anymore. I don't want to have to ask the question, why? I'm mad as hell right now, and I'm ready to fight. Just bring it on, because my tears have dried up, and I'm ready to kick some bodies. You know the rest.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. This is so prophetic because the poem you just read is another segment of Peggy's life. She lost her son to gun violence. And we're going to talk about that. So that's why God moved this way. Your poems are filling in the loop of where we're going. And I thank God for that. Thank God. You're going to see. We're going to get there. Minister Travel, what do you think about, should Peggy have been taken to jail?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because it just feels like to me that, when they do these things, it's an underlying financial reason too. It's an underlying financial reason too. Because when they come out in force like this, they get paid time and a half.
Yes.
On our backs. See, this, and not only that, they're scaring the community to death. You see people coming, you're like, well, what in the world is going on?
Now, I hate to say this, Mr. Trevor. I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it.
Go ahead.
We used to the ambulances. We used to the polices. We used to seeing black men get beat up. We used to see what our black boys going out, being put in a black bag. This because we used to seeing memorials made up. This is like a every week thing with our communities. It should not be. It should not be. Go ahead.
But you know what it creates? Trauma in the community.
The whole community is traumatized.
Never heals. It's like a keloid that never heals in our community. It's trauma. And even though our children in our community this is an everyday occurrence, the trauma is in our community that never heals. It's like a keloid.
Yes, because when we talk about trauma, sometimes, all the times, we talk about individual trauma, but communities can be traumatized.
Yes.
Communities can be traumatized. We know communities that are traumatized, that everybody in there, because our kids have walked past so many memorials, seen so much blood going into the streets that we become traumatized. Okay, we're going to bring Peggy back up. Peggy, come back up and finish telling us about, number one, that you were instrumental in getting not 911, but 988 established. 988 is a number we call. I'm going to let you tell us, why should we call 988 instead of 911? Come on back up. Bring her back on.
988 is a number you call instead of 911 when a person is in crisis, so that a social worker comes and people that can actually help the situation. But I'm still fighting on that because I still understand that police still come and they still have a gun. But at least we've come this far. At least, as you saw in the video, it shows Be Heard. It's basically in Harlem. They try to give a certain amount of hours that there's mental health services, but mental health doesn't come at a certain time. It comes at any time. So we should have 24-hour mental health resources in case of a crisis in every community.
But let me come in, Peggy. Let me come in. But sometimes wouldn't you say that police are needed? Sometimes the situation can elevate, and police are really needed to strain people. And sometimes maybe the mental health person, specialist, or the doctor can't always restrain the person. What then should we do? Or you
I
think?
agree with that. I agree with that. I agree when the gentleman said maybe we should have a pepper spray or something like that. Now, I'm not for that, but I agree that situations can get out of control. But you need people that are trained to actually not take it personal, but to actually look at the person as a human being and restrain them, with love. I worked in facilities for almost 20 years with youth, and we're trained to restrain. You're not just going to restrain. There's a way you can de-escalate. I think I've restrained in almost 20 years, 15 years working with the youth. I think twice. So you don't always, you can de-escalate. When you treat them like a human being, they actually act like a human being. You understand? And we got to stop asking why you did this and start being so aggressive and asking what happened. And when you actually sit with them, I would be just like them too if I went through all that they went through without the Lord. A lot of these young people is just so much trauma, and you have to help them process that pain and that trauma. So I'm also fighting for things to change when I didn't want to go take it that far, but I'm fighting for those that are incarcerated.
No, you can take it that far. This is WarCry, and this is for we're here.
No, we haven't got to the part of my son. What happened to my son was 3 years ago on July 2nd, 2022. My son Justin went to celebrate his 24th birthday in Richmond Hill, Queens.
Now, let me just say this. Is this the same son that the police restrained?
Yes. And I called him my little man. He was almost 6 feet tall. But because my husband died and then my dad, when my child died, this was my baby. Like, that was my little man. I wear his picture every day. I take him everywhere I go with me. And everything I do is in honor of him. I do annual book bag giveaways. My third I did this year. I honor him through balloon releases, his memory and his name alive. But some guys came into his birthday party under the gate, and they shot up the birthday party. 4 people got shot. My son caught the fatal shot. And while I tell you I've lost everyone else, there's nothing so devastating as to lose a piece of your body, and so what I want to say is it has been raw. It has been a place that, like, you really get to know who you are in this kind of pain. But through that, I've taken that pain and used it for purpose. I now work for an organization, Not Another Child, who her son, Arisa Napa Williams, her son was killed 19 years ago, innocently killed and shot dead. So she started this organization, and this organization is survivor led. And if you can see her in the video, on that cape, she wore our kids on the cape, all of our pictures of every kid that was gunned down, and she took them into the White House. So I work for this organization, and I'm a program manager now. And so as a survivor, I want to give them what I would want myself. I stood in that hospital when my son died. I've never had a dead son, not knowing what the next step was. I was there with detectives, just questioning me. There was nothing else there. And I was doing this alone. But like some months later, my daughter worked for Not Another Child. And I literally told my daughter, I'm not going to make this one. It was my husband and my dad, but my child. And I told her, I'm not going to make this one. I fought so hard for him. I felt like I lost the fight. I felt like, I can't even tell you. And so she said, no, mommy, you can. And she introduced me to Not Another Child. And when I tell you that everything there is done intentionally, it's not a check off list. I come from Nassau. I live in Nassau. I go all the way to Harlem. I work 2 days a week there. I do all my peer support there. Why? Because it's not a check off list. everything she does is with passion and intentional because she is a survivor. And so we do activities because we all know that we don't just heal in a circle, right? She loves God. And so, we just do so much. This was, we do a lot of activities together, and we've become a group, a group and a family, and signed up for a group we did not want to be a part of. We didn't sign up for this group. We did not want to be a part of this group. But now as a survivor, all I want is to be there for the next mother and to give her what I would want as a survivor. And so now we do court support, we do funeral support, we do memorials, birthdays, we do shooting responses. Anything that they need. We provide food for the repast. We do the obituaries. We just there hands on. Like last night, I got a call, 2 a.m. I went to use the bathroom, come back, my phone is ringing. It's a survivor crying. Why? We are there on the journey in the interim, where we give the continuum of services. We never stop. We're there hands on. Why? Because a survivor losing their child is like no other pain. Like you lost a piece of your body. And while I lost everything else, my child, I have to get up and be intentional every day. Okay. And I just, for 2 years, I was in shock, and I really couldn't speak. Like everything I said, I felt like, but recently, like I just been like more intentional. I got really into, and now I look at when I read the word of God, I read it in such a different way, right? Everything is always looking at what happened there. Like because there's a reason why everything is written. And so I've been reading in the book of Job, and it's interesting that before my son was killed, I was reading the book of Job, and in there, the Lord spoke to me and said, the young men die. And I remember praying for my son and not knowing that fast forward, someone would take his life. And so I've been reading Job. So just last week, because I journal a lot. I've done grief share, and I'm intentional about getting, doing this journey. Because I love what my boss says, time doesn't heal. It reveals the why. And I love that she says that, and I wish you could meet her. You have to meet her because she's just because she's a survivor, she does everything through the lens of a survivor. And so she knows exactly what we need. We're going on our retreat this week. In fact, we're going on our retreat, and everything is so intentional. Everything is done with passion and classy. And, if you meet her, I call her my little pit bull in stilettos because everything is done with passion. It's nothing like I met with them. We had a peer support. No. And so I was reading in Job last week, and I think this what really spoke to me was when Job's wife said, "Why don't you just curse God?" And I sat there and I cried, and I was like, and I said to God, for the first time, I could really relate to her. Like I didn't curse God, but I didn't tell nobody to curse, but I could relate to her because she was speaking from a place of pain, right? And so I can only assume that God did not leave her there, because God's word says that he is near to the brokenhearted and a very present help in time of trouble. So I can only assume he didn't leave her there. It never tells us, but I can assume that, because there's so many stories in the Bible that we never look at what could have been or what we thought he did. God is the God of the impossible.
Excuse me.
After you. And so
now, Peggy, I when you and I discussed it, you said something unique about Job's wife. You said you would have said the same thing too after her losing all her children.
Yeah, and I may not have said curse God and die, but have I questioned his protection? Absolutely. Have I doubted his love for me sometimes after losing everything? Of course, but because he has been my rock and my foundation, I've held on to him for dear life through it all. I thank God that my house is not built on sand, but is built on the solid rock of Jesus Christ. And so because of that, I get up intentional because I'm afraid to get to a place I can't get out of, and Amen. I thank God because he sent his word and he healed, and so I love that. And in this, I just continue to walk in that purpose, knowing that he's called me to do, he's not going to waste the pain. He takes beauty for ashes. And so I'm trusting him. But there's something that I really, I was reading yesterday I was reading. I stayed home from church just to get the word, and I was reading something, and Job's friends always believe that, like, the way they accuse him of doing something wrong. You had to have done something wrong. Come on, you all this and you didn't do nothing wrong. But they believed in the doctrine of retribution. And the doctrine of retribution says good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. And either you get blessing in this life or you get punishment, you know. But Satan was trying to prove that God was wrong in giving human beings a choice. He was trying to prove that, but his claim was proved false. It went false because Job wasn't singled out for not being sinless, because he wasn't a perfect man. We know we're not perfect, but for consistently wanting to be sinless. And I love that. And in that, a blameless person, because I wanted to look up what blameless and righteous meant, because when you read Job, you can only see a righteous man, a blameless man. So I went in deep to look at that. But it says a blameless person is someone whose life exhibits integrity. And so we may not always get it right, but we walk in integrity, you know.
Absolutely.
And we go forward. And the best part of it, I was laying there just meditating on it and just thinking about what it said. And the best part is, we are the why of Job's story.
Yes.
We are the why, because when Job had everything, yes, you speak of God, you okay, yes, you're righteous. But when he lost everything, that's when God was really evident in his life.
Yes.
So
And that's when God does his best work. That's when he does. And I am so glad that God is your filler.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? He becomes our filler. And truthfully, a filler actually adds to. So God has added to your life all the tragedies. You have become victorious, even with your loss. And you wear your son in your heart. You wear your son. I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. Do we have Victoria, do you have any type of poem, or would you like to come in here and minister as well?
Also, I would like to talk about the event that my partner and I had. My partner in rhyme is Renette Nia Ebo, who was on the show a few weeks ago. And we had a program called The Weapon of Choice is Words. And so I wanted to let you know that that event turned out spectacularly. There were 60 people that showed up. We had a lively band. The audience was very engaged. We had poets who hadn't seen one another in a long time, so it was like a reunion for them. It was just a beautiful thing, because we even had counselors there in case someone got, overwhelmed by what was being read, because all the poems centered around loss.
Oh, hold it right there. So you had counselors there just in case the poems triggered something in the individuals. That's a wonderful thing. Because in poetry, it's a release. It's a release. Now, you write from your heart, Victoria. You're writing from a place of brokenness sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And that poem that I read earlier, Tired of Crying, was one of the poems that I had read that evening. And one lady came up to me and said, you know what? I'm tired of crying too. I feel like I need to do something instead of crying about what happened, crying about something I can't change. I feel like I need to, get involved. And there were other organizations there that allowed people to get involved with them. And so that was a good thing. So it turned out to be a good event for everybody. But I had this is a question that you could maybe deal with in a later show. Like, why is there such a high volume of mental issues now?
I'm glad you brought it up. We're going to deal with that. I'm going to bring on who she speaks about, the founder of Not Another Child. And I'm bringing on someone from King of Kings. I'm bringing on someone from 100 Suits and Common Justice. And we're going to deal with that with a therapist on the side. That's going to be one. And I'm going to invite everybody in, because we have to get to the root problem. Now, she and I talked about it, and we know that there's a whole lot of different agencies or groups that respond after the fact. But we've got to start addressing these things before they happen. Preventive measures. We can identify our kids that are troubled. We know who they are, instead of pushing them aside or hoping that they move to another neighborhood. We've got to identify these individuals and begin to work with them at their 8 years old, at their 12 years old, and start changing who they really are in our
the
community.
thing I was thinking about this morning was, and I was praying actually, and I was like, Lord, I know what happened. They took church they took the Bible, the prayer out of the schools. I remember as a child, there was a period of time during auditorium where we prayed. So that's not there anymore. And parents they don't go to church anymore. It's just a whole another attitude about, I think they call what did they call it? Institutionalized church. They don't like that. So it's a whole nother a monster, as they say. And
I'm going to let the panel come in. But what I want to add to that is that you're absolutely right. WarCry, one of the portions, the legs of WarCry is for everyone to adopt the school. We have our shirts that say, I am praying for our children. Put prayer back in. All you have to do, any listener, to just contact us and we'll send you a free t-shirt. But what you got to do is tell me which school district you're praying for, which school you're going to be praying for. We only ask you to pray 15 minutes a week. Period. Because we have to start disarming the principalities that's over our communities. But along with that, I do want to say is that even though they took prayer out of school, the family structure broke down and they didn't have prayer in the home. See, you can really never take prayer out of school if we as parents, as foster parents, as guardians, as cousins, as uncles, pray with our kids and put scriptures in them, then wherever they go, they take it with them. I stated earlier, there has been 313 mass shootings. And I like to say, if we were actively on our game praying, if we move to do something, stand behind Peggy, not another child, stand behind her as she goes to try to get the bill passed for 988, begin to work together, we can make a better world together. Nobody's not going to do it unless we do it. Nobody's going to help us except us. Okay, Dr. Payne, come in, have a comment. This is WarCry.
Yeah. Well, what happened, we need funding from the government also, because they cut back so much. And that's one of the reasons why we don't have like special eds and different things in our school. They cut back so much. But the thing is, they're cutting back in certain neighborhoods. Not every neighborhood is being cut back. Now, think about it. Not every neighborhood is getting a good education and good books and everything. So we got to speak up on that. It's our job to do that. When things is wrong, we got to speak out right then and there. We can't wait because, like I said, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Before you know it, they'll be taking more things from us. When we was coming
Dr.
up, we had
Payne,
hopscotch.
I got to put you on the spot. I got to put you on the spot. Give me permission to put you on the spot. This is WarCry. Are you ready? You ready? Put you on the spot. What is the church doing about it? The church is supposed to be on the front line. Churches, organizations, pastors, what are we doing about it? You guys supposed to be out there. And I'm not talking about you individually. We've got organizations that should be on the front line. Everybody on here should be a member of the NAACP. Everybody on here should be a part of the Black Negroes for women. Everybody on here should be a part of CORE. Now, everybody on here, because why? It takes organizations and money to move forward on it. So, but the church, which is the largest institution of the body of Christ, why can't we get together? I'm talking about the Black church. Payne, Dr. Payne?
Well, we lost our power. We lost the power. Think about it. When we was coming up in earlier days, they would always go to the church, and the church had the answer, and the church worked together. The church took care of the community. We don't do that no more. And the reason why we don't do that, because everyone wants to be a leader. You hear me?
Yes.
Everyone wants to be a leader, and no one wants to follow. No one wants to work together. That's our problem. And we try to work.
But, and I'm going to Minister Travel with the same question. We got the power of one. All it takes is one person. I mean, it may be hard, it may be challenging, it may it may even I don't know what happened to my, but it may be frustrating, but it takes the power of one. So we are without excuse. Minister Travel, same question. Where is the church? White churches are helping their people. Where is our churches? See, it was never the intent of God to have a black church and a white church. It was the intent of God to have the church. But because of segregation, integration, that we don't want to. White churches don't want to be integrated with black people. So Sunday is the most segregated day of the week. So I got it. Mr. Trevor, where's the church?
The church is behind the doors. They have locked their doors. They don't want to deal with the nasty little kids on the corner that are rude and disrespectful. They want to stay within their cocoon and leave it. You have some of these churches, and now I'm going to talk about your powerful churches, your AME, the Church of God in Christ. Kuja, these powerful churches that have money that could set up institutions. And you said it a long time ago and really put me on the spot and shut my mouth when you were going together with these churches and said, oh, well, Monday you do the math, Tuesday we do the fell apart, didn't do it. You were absolutely right. And then you pointed the finger back at me and said to me, well, what are you doing?
Well, don't let my business out in the street. Don't put my business in the street.
Okay,
You're right.
Sorry.
Don't put my business in the street. That's right. We have enough churches on Fulton Street in Brooklyn to have to open their doors up at different times to bring our kids in there. But it's not happening. Peggy, what's going on with the church?
The
black church.
The church have lost his glory. It's more about titles. And in this, we do not need titles. God called us all out to go into the world and be servants and be ministers of the gospel and to go out there and be life and light to people. Not to sit. I could care less about a building. When I don't go to service, I'll be honest with you. There are days that I don't go. And I was talking to a good brother and I was like, I don't have interest to go to church. I love the Lord, but I could get church right here because he didn't call us to be in a building. He called us to be out there, to be outside, to be with the people, to come face to face, to say good morning to the young man on the corner. The one that has
Peggy. I don't want to say good morning to the one on the corner. I'm scared.
Yes.
He's got his pants hanging down low. I'm gonna cross the street. I'm scared. What are you gonna tell me? What are you gonna say to me?
Jesus died for Barabbas. He died for Barabbas. And we don't reach out to those who really need us. And there are people who are called to minister to that particular population. So we have to do better.
Okay, Veronica, what's going on with the black church? Are they inviting you in to do poetry classes so some of this trauma can be released in our kids? Veronica, tell me. I know you're getting a lot of appointments from the church.
You mean Victoria?
Yeah, Victoria.
Yes, I do go to many churches and perform, and I'm in a group called Good Shepherd Circle, and when we have events, I'm always called upon to share some poetry. One of the most popular ones is like No Sunday School, but if you will, let me read this one called There's This Tree. There's this stone. There was a stone, a really big stone, almost like a mountain. It sat in the middle of the sea between the sky and the fluffy clouds. There's this tree, a real evergreen Christmas type tree, a tree that grows in the middle of a stone with no foliage around it. Imagine that. In spite of all odds, it grows at least 10 feet tall. If that tree can grow in a place so obscure, grow in a place where you would least expect it to flourish, what is stopping those of us who have to reach beyond the break, to keep reaching, reach beyond the toils and the struggles. They are there to test your faith. Reach beyond the anguish and the pain. Be anxious for nothing, says the Lord. Reach beyond the nonsense that we deal with every day. Don't sweat the small stuff. Think about it. We can be just like that tree, which can be seen as life, hope, and determination. We can bring the light of can do to become 10 feet tall. Of course, not in a literal height, but in stamina, endurance, and belief in our possibility. There's this tree growing in the middle of the stone, a monolith, if you will, with the sea all be around it, royal blue water and cotton balls clouds in the baby blue sky, giving us hope, determination, life, and possibilities, y'all. There's this tree. And with regard to the question about the churches, I think that a lot of our fighters have gotten old and they're not imparting that wisdom to the younger ministers, because there are younger ministers out there, but they're not doing much more than being in the pulpit, and that's where it ends. Because I remember us in our neighborhood, just walking through the neighborhood to let with our pastor in tow to let people know, hey, we're here, we are. This is what we offer. We're spreading the gospel throughout the new neighborhood, but we're supposed to spread it to the farthest reaches of our influence. So I think that the problem is, like, my pastor is 92 years old, right? And his friends who are still pastoring are like in their 80s. So it's the fact that the older ministers are older and don't have that stamina anymore. But whether they are feeding their younger ministers that under them with the same passion that they had to get out there and fight. You talked about being afraid of the person on the corner. I'll sit on my porch, really, and see somebody walking past with their pants and baby, pull your pants up. They're getting ready to hit your knees. I'll make it like, committed, but I'm serious about it. And one time I even asked the young man, can I ask you a question? Because I'm kind of bold like that. I said, can I ask you a question? And he said, what's that? I said, why do you got a belt on? Why are your pants below your hips? Oh, well, I just don't be thinking. I said, you don't feel that? It's cold out here. You don't feel that cold on your back? And it says, ha, ha, ha. I said, baby, you're sending the wrong signal. That signal says you want something from a man. Do you want something from a man? Oh, no. Pull them doggone pants up and tighten up your belt. That's what you do.
And you're absolutely right. What happens is, and we're bringing our program to a close, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being victorious all the time. I appreciate you, Peggy, for being victorious all the time, working past your pains, because we didn't talk to Victoria about it, but Victoria's brother committed suicide. And that's another trauma that has impacted her family. And when we spoke about it, she said, oh, the picture's right here.
Yeah,
the picture's right here.
Right at him.
The picture's right here. So we've got to learn to process this and know that we are all a part of the healing. But I think when our kids wear their pants all the way down, they're really predicting their future. And their future is to be incarcerated, because that's what they do when you are incarcerated. So
Well,
the enemy is...
They don't have belts in jail. That's why
right.
their pants hang down.
That's right. That's right. They don't have belts in jails. So the enemy has them bamboozled and predicting their future by the clothes that they're wearing. And 90% of those, and I'm not saying 100%, don't even understand that you can't even run with your pants down like that. And that if you're reaching to pull up something, the cop could think you're trying to pull out a gun and your destiny may be tampered with. So we've got to do things to educate our kids. I appreciate this. We're going to join together. We're going to join forces together, and we're going to make this thing happen because God has left us here. Now, while we're closing out, because I'm bringing on called, I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's called Mothers Against Social Media. Mothers Against Social Media. So I need you to stay tuned. We're doing some things in WarCry that people need to hear and move with. Like I said, we can put together a whole program set up with trauma and with people common justice. We're trying to coordinate this thing together. And then I'm bringing on a workshop to deal with generational trauma. She's coming all the way from California. So we're doing some things to help our people to network and to make us a better people. Together, we can be better. Amen. Together, we can be better. God left us here to be better. God left us here for a time such as this to be better. Now, before we close WarCry, I want you to think of one word that you would like to leave the audience with. One word, and please do this, subscribe, share, let people know that this is an unusual podcast, because guess what? We got unusual anointings, but all of it is Christ-centered. Amen. All of it is Christ-centered. So one word you'd like to leave the audience with. Dr. Payne, one word.
Focus.
Why focus? Why focus?
Focus. We got to have a plan, put it in order, and stay focused, and don't let nothing deter us. And especially coming up, young people that we got coming up, we got to stay focused because we doing everything else but doing one thing. Let's stick it with one thing, stay focused, and get that accomplished.
Okay, Victoria. Victoria, one word.
Pray.
Okay, why pray?
Because you can't live without it. You can't live
do
without
it. Do you think our young kids are praying?
I know they're not. They're not praying because they're not taught to pray. Their parents don't pray. And the ones that do pray are churched because they've learned. Like I sent my kids, I drug my kids to church, and all of them were baptized. All of them know the Lord. Now, whether they do something different as adults, I have no control over that, but I put, what they say, raise up a child in the way they should go and they will not soon depart. Well, guess what? I'm hoping and praying all the time that they will not soon depart.
Excellent. Peggy, one word you would like to leave and why?
Prayer, because that's where the battle is fought. The battle is not flesh and blood, but it's fought in prayer.
Okay, but I got to come back to you, Peggy. But what the Bible says, without faith, faith without works is dead. So prayer, we got to pray. Don't we have to get up off our knees sometimes and do some things, or just pray all the time?
Our mission is right in our communities. People go everywhere else, get on a plane, but our mission is right here in our communities. We need to fight for one another. It is so easy for us to get mad at a person. Right now, everybody's coming against our communities. It's so easy for us to get mad at them when we ourselves do it to each other. We need to fight for each other, right? Fight together, be in unity. Doesn't matter if we agree with one another. We have to come together and do it for each other, because no one's
I want you to say your son's name. Say his name right now.
Justin Bayerga.
Let's give Justin, we salute you today. We salute you today because your mama is a fighter. We salute you today because your mama is a fighter. Minister T, what one word would you like to say?
Oh, she's on mute.
Victorious. Because if we don't have the mindset to be focused, and we have a plan, as the pastor said, and we know when we come into this plan, we're going to know that we're going to have victory, that we're going to have the victory through this plan. And if we understand that, don't come in with the mindset that we're not going to be able to be successful. Come in with the mindset that we're going to be victorious and we're going to have victory with this plan that we have set up for our children. It's going to be victory with this.
My one word is consistency, because Black people are not consistent. We are not consistent. The first time we run into failure, guess what we want to do, Dr. Payne? We want to give up. I've talked to people who face challenges, and instead of them saying, listen, I'm going to be the best I can be, you know what they say? Oh, well. Oh, well. Your oh, wells is not going to move this generation. You know, we've got to have a mind to say what God has given us is that we can be the best through Christ Jesus. He's excellent, but our kids give up. We give up. We want to throw the flag in, and we want to know why our kids are giving up. We got to be consistent. We got to have endurance, and we got to know that we are more than a conqueror. But the only way you can know you're more than a conqueror, this is WarCry, is to go through some battles. I've been through some battles. Anybody else been through some battles? I've been through some battles. So I know that I am more than a conqueror. See, victory is mine because of the battles I went through, because I know whose I am and who is going to answer my call. This is WarCry. See you next week for another exciting show. But remember to pray for our kids. Pray for our kids. Go call us. Write us. Let me know or text me, because we want to give you a t-shirt that says, I am praying for our kids. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. This is WarCry. See you next week. See you next week. WarCry, WarCry. Hey, WarCry. This is WarCry. WarCry for our children, where the street meets the sanctuary and purpose meets power. Join me, Elder M, intercessor, street evangelist, prayer warrior, advocator for justice. We stand in the gap in the streets, in the courtyards, in the schoolyards, in the church, and on the block. This ain't just prayer. It's intercession. It's advocacy. We deal with real problems. Criminal justice, social justice, gun violence, social media, catfishing, human trafficking, mental illness, education disparities. We deal with it all here on WarCry. Our community has a voice. It's called WarCry. Each week, we link arms with community leaders, educators, pastors, parents, calling out injustice. This is WarCry. This is not just a podcast. It's more than a moment. This is a movement. Join us. Let's give a voice to the problem and be the solution.
I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep them going.
WarCry. We're going to speak out for our children. Let freedom ring? No. There cannot be freedom until there's justice. WarCry, join us Mondays, 11 a.m. I'm just about to lose my mind. This is WarCry. Oh, they're trying to turn time back. But let us get out and give a voice to the problem. This is WarCry. Join us, be with us, or be gone. Don't push us. This is WarCry.
Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
We're not going under. This is WarCry.